Morning.
Randy Partica.
At least I see we're up to about 39, almost 40 now. Do we have a quorum?
I need help with the weather, so I can't hear it.
Okay.
You were muted, Lisa, if you were trying to.
Sorry, guys. Gary, it looks like we have about 10 or 11 members that I can see. So,
Okay.
I don't know where to go.
Well, that qualifies as a quorum then, I'm assuming.
yeah, I mean, you can go ahead. Oh, yeah, we're getting a few more in. You can go ahead and start. We have 43 on. So,
Okay, very good. I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Looks like the attendance is good again this morning, and I hope everybody's doing well. First up, we have Stephanie with the Clean Ohio update. Stephanie.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to brief everybody about the Round 15 projects that we had. It was very successful. We had two projects, one from the city of Struthers. It was a complement to their WRRSP dam removal project. And the second project that was funded was submitted by Mill Creek Metro Parks. It was their Springfield Road Forest Reserve.
Stephanie, I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you. I don't know if everybody else is. I don't know if you can turn up your mic. Is that possible?
Let's see.
I think we were getting a little bit of feedback from some other folks that had their mics on, but it looks like it might be cleared up now.
Can you hear me?
Still a little muted.
Everything's up on my end.
Okay, go ahead and continue, Stephanie. We can hear you. It's a little difficult, but you have the presentation slides also.
Okay, all right. It's not one thing, it's another thing. All right, moving on. Go ahead, Justin. So for the city of Struthers, their project amounted to $831,900 of Clean Ohio Fund requests. As I mentioned earlier, it was a complement to their WRRSP application. So essentially what it did was it took out their restoration activities that were originally slated for their Ohio EPA application and turned it into a Clean Ohio Fund, which was pretty unique for this round, and it was the first that we have seen thus far as a WRRSP complement. So their project is slated to restore approximately 3,000 linear feet of the Mahoning River, and it includes the in-stream and part of the banks. So what essentially this will do is it will increase the in-stream and riparian habitat and basically improve aquatic life. Next slide, please. So this is just the aerial of where the Struthers Dam is located. So if you look at the bottom half of the section there, right above the baseball fields, that stretch along the river is essentially where the stream restoration is going to take place. So in between the dam and street, that's Bobsine Way that goes over the river there, that's where the restoration will take place. Next slide. Okay, so Mill Creek Metro Parks, they requested $294,431 in Clean Ohio funds. Theirs is a land acquisition that includes 88 acres within Springfield Township. This improves and expands their footprint out into Mahoning County and establishes a park, first-time park in Springfield Township. And this is an aerial of the proposed park boundary. So you see that the turnpike runs along the southern portion of the property, and Springfield Road is right there off to the east. So it kind of gives you an idea of where we're located. Lots of mature forest there. This used to be, if you know the area, that is pretty much open surface mine areas, and that lake that you see right there over on the east side of the property is a recovering, I don't want to say open surface mine, so it turned itself into a lake. Next slide. So the NRAC did meet and of course approved the projects, sent them down to OPWC for their final blessing, and we are moving on to a supplemental round. So I'm here to announce today that round 15A is open for business, and we will have over $2.1 million for a supplemental round. So with that, go ahead, Justin. We are going to be accepting final applications on June 18th. Again, they will be electronic submittals. You'll go to Eastgate's website. You will access all the 15A documents that you need for your final application on Eastgate's Clean Ohio section website. Submittals need to be in to me by 3 p.m. on that June 18th date. And I strongly, strongly encourage applicants to, whether you're a first-time applicant, second, or a seasoned applicant to Clean Ohio, you must consult our application manual and all the documentation that is on our website to make sure that you have everything for your application by that June 18th date. So follow the completeness checklist that we have there. Appraisals are due again at application. So after June 18th, we will entertain applicant presentations on July 9th. And then the NRAC will meet again on July 23rd to make their final selection. So that July 9th date, like we've had in the past rounds, pretty much allows the applicant and the NRAC members to interact, which provides some good question answering for members. So again, I can't emphasize enough, consult Eastgate's website for all the application materials. That includes the manual, attachment B, and the scoring methodology. I know I can't say this enough, but that methodology is essentially the answers to the test that we have, your application. That is everything that the NRAC uses to look at your application. And if you have any questions as far as what they're looking for, that document will answer all of those. So for any questions between now and the submittal, I encourage everyone to reach out to myself. And if I don't know the answer, we will involve OPWC's Donna Kirkbride, who has worked with me in the past, and we've talked to potential applicants and made projects that may not have been too eligible. So please take advantage of assistance. Thank you.
Any questions for Stephanie? Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Okay, next we have Kathy. She's going to discuss the ARC power funding opportunity. Also provide us a program update on the ARC program. Kathy.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, thank you, Gary. I hope you can hear me. I'd like to begin by talking about some funding opportunities that are available through ARC. And you can find this announcement on our website under the top news section. And Justin has the slide available for you here. This is actually our 7th year in power funding. There is $50 million that are available this year. And POWER stands for Partnerships for Opportunity and Workforce and Economic Revitalization. And what it is for communities that have experienced job loss due to a decline in the coal industry. So whether it's coal mining, coal-fired power plants, or the coal supply chain, this is an opportunity that is available for those types of projects. And the purpose of the funding is to help these communities to strengthen and diversify their economies. So we do focus on 5 key areas for projects. And for that, we're looking at building a competitive workforce, focusing on supporting our entrepreneurial activities, as well as developing industry clusters. We also focus on strengthening on substance abuse recovery. And for that, we're really concentrating on projects that are looking at recovery to work. And then, of course, broadband, which is so critical. And for this year, 1/3 of that $50 million will be allocated to broadband deployment projects. So there are 2 types of applications. We have an implementation grant application, and that is where you can request anywhere from $400,000 up to $1.5 million. And then we also have planning grants available at a maximum request of $50,000. There is a match required. It depends on your region. Typically, it's about 50%, but I can walk you through that and help you if you need assistance there. So on our website, we have information for you on how to apply. There is a request for proposal, and that's going to give you all of the information you need to put together a successful application. Of course, I'm here to assist you in any way possible on that. And then some important dates. There is a letter of intent that's required again this year for an applicant to complete. We have the fillable 1-page form for you right here on the website, and those need to be completed by March 5th. If you do not complete an LOI, you cannot apply for a full application. And then those full applications are due on April 16th. It is submitted through the ARC portal, and you can find that link right here on the Eastgate website as well. There are some workshops that will help you. Oh, sorry, Justin, just a couple more things. Thank you. The first workshop was this week. Unfortunately, you missed it, but it was recorded. It is really very informative. So if you'd like to review that, it's available through the link here. It's a 1-hour presentation by RC. And then, of course, there is a question answer workshop that's coming up on February 25th, in which you can register, please, by January 29th for that. The RFP changes every year, so I would definitely encourage you to please look that over. One new item on it this year is the scoring criteria. So you can actually look at your application, see where you need to strengthen it, because the point allocation is there for you. And then you are required to reach out to your state program manager. That is Julia Hinton. She's a great advocate for our area. You're welcome to contact me as well as the local development district. We can walk you through the process, but there are a few things that benchmarks you have to hit in order to complete the application. And then we should know who the successful applicants are. Usually the federal fiscal year makes that announcement at the end of September or early October. So that is what I'd like to share with you on the funding opportunities. Now, if we could move to some educational opportunities that are available. This is also on the Eastgate website on our top news section. And every year we have some educational opportunities available through our Oak Ridge program. And this year we actually have two, and this is to assist in STEM and entrepreneurial. So high school students can actually apply for that AEA, which is Appalachian Entrepreneurial Academy. And this is to assist the high school students in developing entrepreneurial leadership skills as well as critical thinking. And once they go through the program, they actually get a certificate of completion. So there is no cost to the student. All materials and stipends are covered. The virtual event will take place on June 14th through the 25th. And COVID permitting, if we're able to meet in person, that will take place in Pittsburgh on July 12th through the 30th. So also on our website, you can see we have the application, and that would be due for the AEA program on March 1st. And then the second educational opportunity you've heard me talk about it over the years is the Oak Ridge Summer STEM Science Program. And this is for middle school students and high school students, as well as high school teachers. And really the purpose of this program is so that we can spark an interest in STEM for the students, so that hopefully they pursue careers in that same STEM field. It provides the student an opportunity to work with hands-on professionals and scientists throughout the country. And all we ask is that the student has a desire to learn. They don't have to have a high GPA, just a desire to learn. And we especially like to look at students who maybe no one in their family has ever gone to college before. So that is also an all expense paid by ARC. And it will take place this summer. That would be June 19th through July 2nd. For high school students and teachers. Then it's just a 1-week session for middle school students. If COVID permitting, we would like to do it in person. That would be in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, but if not, we will do another virtual session. The application, as you see, is on our website as well, and those applications are also due on March 1st. Both of these programs are competitive. Certainly, Eastgate would be more than willing to write a letter of support. But if you know of any family or students that may be interested, please give them this information or have them contact me. Ohio generally does send at least one student for each of the 4 local development districts. It's a really good opportunity, and we'd like to see Ohio represented as well as our area. So that is our educational opportunities. The last item I'd like to talk about is some administrative announcements with administrative staff at ARC. And after a long search, it took a year, but we do have a new ARC executive director in the DC office, and that is Brandon McBride. Brandon comes to us. He's formerly with the USDA Rural Utilities Service. I had the opportunity to interact with him at our power workshop. Of course, that was virtually, so we're really happy to have him on board. And then, of course, with the new year comes the appointment of a new ARC State's co-chair. You may recall Governor DeWine was actually our co-chair last year. So his term is over, and now we have the governor of the state of Virginia, which is Ralph Northam. And both the state's co-chair and the executive director work hand in hand with the federal co-chair. That is Tim Thomas, and of course the federal co-chair is appointed by the president. We have a new administration, so President Biden will be appointing the new federal co-chair. So we'll look forward to that announcement, and in the meantime, we're very pleased that Tim Thomas is going to stay with us until that transition occurs. So we have a lot going on in the ARC program, And I'm happy to address any questions you may have on the items I talked about.
Okay, any questions for Kathy? Okay, thank you, Kathy. Okay, next we have Mark with an economic development update. Mark.
Thanks, Gary. I'm just going to dive right into it. So just want to draw some attention. We had a lot of projects come through last year, especially with the announcement of the EDA CARES Act funding. It was particularly attractive considering they would look at most projects on an 80-20 funding matrix. That money, according to our EDA reps, went really fast. They had allocated or spent most of that by the end of October, early November. We had a few successful projects, a few that weren't, but we've definitely learned some of the ins and outs of what they're looking for in the public works program for the EDA. And just wanted to draw some attention to what we've been doing. We've been kind of fine tuning the process, myself, Joanne, Mike, Jim, really tag team effort to put our best foot forward with these projects and to help the region, get some funding from the EDA. One of the bigger things we did, we've been forwarding this white paper you see on the side there. Basically, it just gives our reps a good idea going in. Rather than just a paragraph blurb, which we would have done in the past, we really want to put a complete white paper in there, show the budget, show where they're getting their investment from, any partnerships, the strategic rationale. Really helps them to come back to us with some comments, push us in the right direction, and allow us to begin an application. And from there, as of recently, we've been looking at a lot of our potential grantees' applications before they submit them. We really want to go through there and provide some feedback, some corrections, any suggestions we might have even before we push it up to the EDA ultimately for submission. We've been utilizing a project tracker, definitely recording the ones that have come in since January, the ones that came in at the end of the year, to determine what process they're in. But we've been seeing a lot of success here. I know our regional partners from the EDA are very impressed with what we've been doing. We've had several phone calls with them regarding this process, and we will continue to do so. But they're impressed with how prepared we are, how professional we come in, and we look forward to being able to get a lot more projects funded through this mechanism. One last point of note that will help to actually bolster our efforts even further is Eastgate's actually in the process of finalizing a contract for technical assistance, which will bring on a consultant to help with project identification, funding source identification, and also grant writing services. And this will be a very useful tool for the region. Again, just to kind of continue, the SEDS has gone hand in hand with what I just talked about as well. This document, I've been kind of very impressed by how well we've utilized this over the last year. The team that put together a lot of the goals and the action items and the objectives, we were spot on. A lot of the projects that have come in, whether for CARES Act funding, traditional funding, they've been listed on our project list, which was great. That tells us that our partners that had these projects in line, they were planning to go forward with them, and they were noted in our SEDS, which again, that impresses the EDA, but it also impresses other funding sources that we've had, some concrete direction and plans in place rather than just pulling projects that aren't necessarily developed yet. As for the status update on year one, I'm going to be looking to convene the SEDS Advisory Council at some point in the spring. We haven't met since we finalized the document last spring, and we'll just kind of go over some of our successes, maybe some of our failures, where we can get better, how we can realign ourselves, and how we can go forward for year two. But definitely, I'm very appreciative of the support and the effort of those members of the CAC, our regional partners from the counties, the townships, municipalities, villages. It's been wonderful to work with you guys so far on the SEDS. Another big thing we've been working on, the broadband feasibility study. This process began back in November. We are moving right along. Our consultant, Ice Miller, has provided us with biweekly updates. They've been following very closely to the calendar you see in front of you. we haven't missed a beat. They are still projected to have a final report in place by June. We're hoping to bring them on at some point to maybe provide a midterm update of some kind, maybe to the TAC or the General Policy Board or what have you. But they've been terrific to work with thus far. We're excited to see where this can take us, where we can utilize this document for implementation projects, how to improve our broadband standing, in the region. Because I know we have some areas that definitely lack coverage, lack capability, and the whole purpose of this was to improve that. And I think we have a great shot. Lastly, just an update on economic recovery coordination. I believe they're still on track as far as their timeline. We have weekly updates with them. They're working very hard to leverage some of the assets we have in the region as part of their efforts. I spoke to Dominic earlier from the YSU team who's handling this project. He's going to come on in March for the TAC, and he's going to provide us with a full midterm update of what they've been working on so far. So that'll be terrific, and that gives us something to look forward to for March. As far as my report, that's all I have. If you guys have any questions, I welcome those. And if not, I wish you guys all a great day. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Questions for Mark? Okay, thanks again, Mark. Okay, next we have Justin. He's going to discuss the State Route 46 corridor plan. And then Justin, if you just want to go into the fiscal year 2022 planning grant also.
Certainly. Thank you, Gary. So yeah, a quick update for everyone for the State Route 46 corridor plan. Just as a refresher, the location that we're looking at on the southern end of the corridor is around the I-80 interchange. And then as you travel north through Mineral Ridge, up into downtown Niles, really is the scope of the project area that we're looking to study. Some of the planning concepts we're covering, really the built environment within and adjacent to the public right-of-way, transportation safety interventions, really taking an in-depth look at the safety data over the last several years and seeing if there's any hotspots or any problem areas or systemic issues that we can identify that there's maybe some recommendations and solutions that could solve those issues. Regional and localized transportation connectivity. So if you remember last year, we completed the multimodal network connectivity report. So taking some of those same themes and theories and ideas and concepts that we studied in that report and bringing them into this program, taking a look really at the local aspect and figuring out what those assets are that we need to connect within the community, and then the broader context. So what does State Route 46 mean for connectivity for the region as a whole? It's connected to I-80, it's adjacent to Meander Reservoir. You've got great connectivity through multiple community centers. So really taking a kind of holistic approach and looking at what the corridor means in its larger context for the region and how that ties into our metropolitan transportation plan and project development and concepts that we can go into further from there. And then a big kind of exciting development for this plan is we found a new methodology that we're going to put into place for this plan to really help us collect and analyze data in kind of a new and interesting way, I think. It's called the Built Environment Assessment Tool, developed by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. On this slide, if you access it on our website, there is a link there that'll take you to the CDC's website that details this methodology in full, but I'll get into a little bit to cover that in just a minute. First, I want to kind of talk about what's next in the planning process. So, we've been doing a lot of kind of just data collection, review of previous plans, kind of just that initial research work. So where do we go from where we are now? So more data collection. So that built environment assessment tool is going to be key. Once the weather breaks and we can get out into the field and start collecting this data, we'll really kind of open this project up and give us a pretty well-rounded view of what we're working with. Stakeholder interviews. So the planning team that we're working with identified stakeholders that would have some valuable input. So getting together one-on-one with them to figure out where they see some of the issues along the corridor and where they kind of see the future and what they'd like to see out of the corridor and how it kind of facilitates development and community vibrancy. So data analysis and recommendation development. So again, taking a look at all that safety, travel, connectivity, built environment data, how that all comes together so we can identify those priorities and really make some meaningful and realistic recommendations, not only just small short-term projects, but also some more detailed long-term, bigger concept ideas for the communities that this corridor runs through. So we really want to put out there something that capitalizes on the work that's already been done, some of the planning activities that these communities have already invested in, reinforce some of those concepts that have been previously identified, and also identify some things that maybe were overlooked or didn't have that backing of data, and maybe we uncover in our work here. And then the big question mark is public engagement. As everyone knows, kind of COVID-19 has thrown a wrench into everything. So our plan is to do some online survey work with the caveat that we know we don't really get the quality of responses through that type of engagement, but it's still kind of our best effort in this time. And then hoping, I know Kathy had mentioned this, kind of just monitoring the status of everything, and hopefully maybe we're able to have some in-person engagement where we're able to actually connect face-to-face with some people later on in the process before we wrap this up before the end of the fiscal year. So that's kind of, we'll keep monitoring and kind of assess the situation as it goes, but we'll try our best and make as good of an effort as we're able to with regards to public engagement and trying to pull some feedback out of some invested residents and stakeholders within that area. And then to wrap up this section, just want to talk a little bit more about this built environment assessment tool, since it's something new that we haven't worked with before, and it may be useful to a lot of you. So like I said, there's the link on the previous slide that'll take you to the CDC's page that has all the information for this. But what this really does is it links transportation and health. So Eastgate's been participating with the Healthy Community Partnership over the last few years, and if any of you have interacted with Sarah Lowry and the team over there, they're really focused on social determinants of health, with transportation being a core aspect of that. So this is kind of our opportunity to really pull in some tangible data and figure out, is there a good kind of connection between those two worlds, and how do we facilitate that? What do we measure? And how do we use that data to make good recommendations to facilitate both growth and improvement on the transportation side that also has a benefit on the public health side? So what this methodology kind of puts together is you take a road segment from intersection to intersection and you look at every segment face. And there's evaluation tools that are already built in. They have a pretty comprehensive kind of assessment sheet already laid out, and it's customizable too. So if there's things that don't really make sense for the context that you're applying it to, they have the flexibility built in where you're able to remove those or add in new things that may be more important in your situation versus the standard one that they've set up. So it's a really kind of flexible tool, and we'll see more specifically how it works as we are able to get out in the field and really put this into practice. So we'll have much more information on you on this program for you as we kind of keep running through it, and as we get some data coming in, we'll be able to share what that actually looks like as we're able to pull that data together. So that ends the update for the corridor plan. Does anybody have any initial questions on anything I brought up there? Great. So I will roll right into the planning grant update. So on January 15th, we had the deadline for our pre-applications. We received 6 of them, and I had some follow-up conversation following the deadline. Our pre-application for this program isn't necessarily required. It's something that we recommend folks do just to give us kind of a heads up on what ideas people are thinking of, and helps us kind of provide some direction back to those potential applicants so that they're able to put together a competitive and the strongest application there possible for the full application. So February 12th, upcoming, not too far away, is our full application deadline. So we expect to see all 6 of those come back to us. We have the scoring committee confirmed, which I'm going to reach out to and get them all set up. We're doing the scoring committee work all virtual this year. In previous years, we've had them all kind of convene together in a room and kind of talk through all the applications. So we'll be working kind of remotely in that aspect. So it'll be a little bit of a different setup, but should still work out the same way. And then funding recommendations will come to this committee, the CAB and General Policy Board in April for approval. So just to give everyone a very quick brief overview of what's been submitted for the pre-application, run through the 6 projects real quick here. Again, they'll be in the slideshow that you're able to access if you want to kind of take a deeper look. But City of Canfield submitted for a Cardinal Connector project that builds on their previous planning grant work. So they were awarded for the Canfield Loop project, and this kind of builds on that and just kind of expands what they learned from that first planning activity and really kind of uncovers some deeper level and more focused specific planning activities. Village of Poland applied for an active transportation plan for the entire village. So connecting some of their unique local assets and really tying that to their strategic plan. City of Struthers will be exploring the 15-minute city concept, which looks to provide access to every resident's basic needs within 15 minutes of every neighborhood. So a really interesting approach on their end. And then we have 3 projects from the City of Youngstown, the first of which listed here is from the Parks and Recreation Department, focusing on connecting Lincoln Park to McKelvey Lake. So a way to link, again, that transportation side to the recreation and health side. So a creative application there from that group. The second one from City of Youngstown is focused on Glenwood Avenue. A very specific kind of corridor focus active transportation plan. So taking a look at kind of complete streets and safe routes principles and building on some of the other work that's already ongoing along that corridor. And last but not least, the Center City Pedestrian Wayfinding Kiosk Strategy, which was a project that kind of was identified through the Smart Network Build Grant program. And this kind of just expands what's going on with that downtown investment and trying to build on some of the work that's going on within that area, focused on pedestrian accessibility and wayfinding. So as we move ahead, again, I'll kind of recap these dates. February 12th is that full application deadline. We'll hope to see full applications from all 6 of those projects. March 8th through 19th, so we've got 2-week period for the scoring committee to review and make their recommendations, get their scores completed. And then we'll be back here April 1st for approval. And then the end of April, we'll have that recommendation to the General Policy Board. So that was a very quick run through of the program so far. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts? All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Okay, now we're down to District 6 Ohio Public Works Commission update. Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Just want to give everyone an update on program year 35 funding, which is funding for this year. Money will be available after July 1st. The final applications were due January 15th. 48 applications were received. We reviewed those applications and sent them all down to the Ohio Public Works. The table you see here is the table that was submitted with the final applications, and it has the projects submitted or separated by funding type. So the top section is for the SCIP funding, which is the State Capital Improvement Program. That can fund any type of project, including roads, sewer, water, stormwater, and it also includes any grant loan combo projects. It also has at the bottom of that list, you could see the skip contingency projects. Those are projects that may have to wait just a little bit longer for their funding to be in place. And then just below that is the loan projects. There were 4 projects that included loan. The one marked in yellow is also shown above because it has grant money too. And then just below that is the list of LTIP projects, which is the Local Transportation Improvement Program. This is grant money only, and it must be used for transportation related, which is road and bridge culvert type projects. Just below that is the 2 small government submissions that went down this year. We only had 2. Usually we can submit up to 5. Those projects will not know if they receive funding until May. And then final down at the very bottom is the projects that were not funded this round. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Okay, now Ken's up with an ODOT statewide planning and research grant discussion. Ken. Ken. Must be taking a break.
How about now?
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Gary. I just wanted to take a minute here, just update on another opportunity that Eastgate and the area hopefully were successful on. But ODOT Central Office offers a statewide planning and research grant on a yearly basis. And on the screen, you'll see a one-pager that kind of summarizes all of the main points of this grant opportunity. But really what ODOT Central Office is looking for is how does the project enhance and promote their Access Ohio 2045 plan around the state. So as you can see on that one pager there, there's a couple of bullet points there that we've identified as to how this grant that we submitted will help the overall state embrace and connect the autonomous future. Of course, you know, with Lordstown and that area just exploding on that side of it, proactive address to transportation safety, expand the state's economic and workforce. Again, you know, we believe that this is a very strong application. We have applied for a $400,000 grant, and we will know July that ODOT will announce who will be awarded across the state. And then if we are fortunate enough to be one of those, the September of this year is when that money will be available, and we'll be able to begin that process of beginning that planning study. So I just wanted to let everybody know. We'll keep you up to date. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And again, we continue to look for ways to move forward for Mahoning County and Trumbull County. Thanks.
Any questions for Ken? Okay, looks like a good opportunity. Thank you, Ken. Okay, now we're down to the executive director's report. Jim.
Thank you, Gary, and thanks to the entire staff to present today. As you can see, working virtually, working out for us, and we're being successful and continue to be aggressive as we move forward on these opportunities. You know, I have to remind myself when I hear the presentations and hear the work being done when it goes. Just want to comment on a couple of things. I'd like to thank the NRAC committee and staff for the evaluation process and recommendations. I look forward to the power grants that possibly could be coming in. I remind everybody that we were successful with the city of Youngstown was successful last year. and getting $1.5 million for the conduit in downtown on the smart corridor. So it's a great program. We're looking for additional opportunities. Commenting on the broadband feasibility, outstanding information there. We're looking to really get the foundation by the study to be able to chase additional funding opportunities. There's a lot being talked about when it comes to broadband, when it comes to money's being made available through the state and federal government. But it's very important as we understand that you have a plan that specifies how you're going to spend that money. That will make us more successful in our pursuit of this additional funding. The corridor plan, outstanding, and it really builds on a couple of the other initiatives we started internally here, the Belmont corridor, and looking forward to the results of that. And then as Ken talked about, the statewide planning and research. Actually, it's a $500,000, $100,000 of local money that we'll be able to put in from the GM investment that's been committed through GM and the Department of Developmental Services Administration in Columbus. We'll look to fund 20% of that and get another 80%, hopefully, our fingers crossed. That builds on the build grant that we submitted last year. We're unsuccessful. We also submitted a planning grant. We said from day one we wanted the planning money because we need to develop that strategic plan. Getting this type of money will allow us to start that strategic plan and bring on that technical expertise that we desperately need. A couple of things that I just also want to comment on. We're working closely with ODOT, Office of Transit, WRTA, and the Trumbull County Commissioners. There's a possibility that ODOT, through their funding, will be able to fund a transit planner that would be housed at Eastgate to develop more of the mobility plans and regional efforts right here where it should be at the area planning organization. Also looking at opportunity to bring in some technical expertise through some transit consultants out there that would assist us with that effort and get us up and running. News we should hear on that in the next couple of months. I touched on the GM's $2.5 million commitment to Eastgate to invest in the Voltage Valley. We're working with the partners that are also recipients of monies through that GM investment, Youngstown State University, Lordstown, and the Mahoning Valley Manufacturers Coalition, and other regional partners, so that we leverage that commitment to this region and hopefully attract additional funds. But it is to invest in the Voltage Valley. Hence, we will pull off some of that money and make it the 20% match should we be successful with the statewide planning research grant. More to come on that when we get more of a timeline from GM of when that commitment and the money will be here. We're supposed to find that out in the next 2 weeks. The last thing I just want to touch on is the governor's proposed budget that identified $2.5 million in infrastructure, or $250 million in infrastructure with the cap of $2.5 million per project. Obviously, we'll have our eyes and ears waiting to see if that gets through and direction on that on infrastructure projects as we get into the new fiscal year. But also a $200 million commitment to broadband starting in fiscal 22. Again, if that budget goes as proposed, but that would really align when it comes to the broadband strategies that are being developed for feasibility, completed in June, and hopefully have projects ready to be moved forward to implementation should that funding be available coming in July 1st. So that broadband timeline is actually working out exactly how we hoped, and as Mark alluded to, going very well. So we're excited about all those opportunities as we move forward. Again, a lot going on. We appreciate the support. We appreciate everybody taking the time in their day to be part of the TAC. It's important that we get our message out and hear your concerns. So thank you for your efforts, and thanks for being part of our organization. Thank you, Gary.
Okay, no, thank you, Jim, and to your staff for continuing to move these programs forward in the environment that we have right now. So thank you, Jim. Okay, General Policy Board resolution for passage. We have one. Lisa will get that out to the committee to vote on. Any questions on that? Please let her know. Okay, now we're down to announcements. Any announcements to come before the committee?
Yeah, Gary, I have a quick one.
Go ahead.
Just a real quick census update. Last month, the president signed a executive order ensuring that everyone will be counted. So that issue has been taken care of. And the census's new deadlines are, where is it? I lost it. What the hell? April 30th is when they expect the apportionment data to be delivered, and the redistricting data should be in by after July 31st. So bad news is we expect Ohio to lose a seat in the House, but good news is hopefully by this summer we should have some data to look at and give out to everybody. And that's it.
Okay, any questions for Jeff? Okay, thank you, Jeff, for that update. Anybody else with any questions or announcements or comments for the committee?
Yeah, Gary, this is Stephen with Eastgate. I also have a quick announcement. You guys will see, if you look on our website, scroll down to our news section. We have a new report on there for linking to ODOT's virtual public meeting. Right now we have up there for State Route 46 and Warren Sharon Road. If you could visit this and click here, and it helps ODOT, helps with the public involvement process. And also starting today, there's also going to be one going up in that same location for State Route 82 and Howland Wilson improvements. So look forward to seeing that either later today or tomorrow, getting up on our website, and we'll have a similar link to ODOT's site there.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Okay, any other announcements?
Hey, Gary, this is Mark from Eastgate. I actually forgot something in my update. Our consultant actually put some surveys on our website, both residential and business, for the broadband. They're going to accumulate some information, some stakeholder feedback. Those can be found at eastgate.org/broadband.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, anybody else? Okay, no more questions or comments. Thank you, everybody. We'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.